Flash deals with two main types of entity. So for example, I'm just going to draw something here, and I might use the line tool to draw something here, and I might use a paintbrush to draw something here, and I might write some text down here. Oops, spell it right. And I might draw maybe an oval down here, and maybe another oval, and maybe another one over here. Okay, so the ones I've drawn on the top I'm going to treat in a particular way, and the ones I've drawn on the bottom I'm going to treat in another way. This here is a rectangle shape. Here we have a line shape. Here we have a sort of a fill-based squiggle shape. Here we have some text. Here we have two ovals, and I'm going to select those together, and I'm going to group them so they can be treated as one. Okay, so they're now treated as one. And this final circle down here I'm going to turn into something called a symbol, which we'll be looking at in the next lesson. A symbol. Now you'll notice that when I select the top group of objects, they get crosshatched. So whether I use a lasso to just get a little bit of it, or whether I draw a box around the whole thing, or whether I just click the stroke, or just click the fill, or draw a box around part of it, they turn crosshatched when they're selected. The things on the bottom, however, get boxes around them, get bounding boxes when they're selected. The things on the top are called shapes, and shapes have the characteristic that they get crosshatched when they're selected, and also if you deselect them and move the mouse near them, if you've got the selection tool selected, you can distort their shape. That's why they're called shapes. So stroke does that, and the fill sort of does that. Okay, so shapes go crosshatched, and their shape can be distorted when they're not selected. Also, when Flash does something called shape tweening, it can only shape tween with shapes. The objects down the bottom all have bounding boxes. So the types of things with bounding boxes are text, which has a bounding box, groups, remember I grouped two things together, and another type of object called a symbol. Now these, when you select them, don't get crosshatched, and similarly when they're deselected and you move the mouse near them, you don't actually have that control over them. When we tween these sort of objects, we use either classic tweening or motion tweening. So we're going to talk about shape tweening eventually, which tweens shapes, and classical motion tweening, which tweens these things, which I'm calling objects. So just be aware of the two differences. Shapes, crosshatched, can distort. Objects, bounding boxes, and can't distort.